Hi, everybody. Dan Illman and Mike Beer taking a look at the DRF race of the day for Wednesday, December the 18th. It's race number 5 at Tampa Bay Downs. We kick off a 50-cent pick 5 with this heat going 1 mile and a 16th on the turf. Starter allowance, $25,000. 10 horses in here, Mike, including the 7 Damaso, one of several speeds entered in this race.
Yeah, I did think there was a lot of pace in this race, Dan. So we'll see how that all plays out and how it affects things in here. It is a pretty wide open race, though. I think there are a lot of different horses that could win here.
Remember to access free formulator past performances for this race on the Race of the Day event page at DRF.com. Take a peek, handicap along with us, and we'll throw up the Timeform US pace projector for our Wednesday Race of the Day. Timeform US does project a fast pace with Katie's a Lady. The potential speed of the speed, although simply striking from the rail, good, better, best from the 2-hole, both have a lot of early gas, and so does the 5 Beach Ready.
Yeah, their speed to her inside, their speed to her outside. We'll see how fast they make her go, Dan. I think it's pretty clear from her PPs that she can go fast if she has to, and that's all dependent upon whether they want to lead with her. In her most recent start, they seem like they made a conscious decision to rate her. I'm not sure how much she loved it, but she ran fine in that race without the lead.
The horse with the fastest Timeform US late pace rating is the 4 Next Episode. It's getting a little bit of class relief, perhaps in a bit tough last time out in New York, and might receive a strong race flow. Let's start things off with Simply Striking. Talk about overmatched. Last time out, they jumped her all the way up into the Sellers Shiraz Stakes at Gulfstream. She showed speed. She paid the price at a big price. The good news for her is she's taken a big drop in class, and she's getting Lasix once again. And breaking from the rail, at least she has some options. She's won from off the pace in the past. Perhaps she settles for the old harness pocket trip.
Yeah, she is lightly raced too, so maybe there's a forward move coming. It was pretty clear, way too tough last time. They put her on the lead. The horse that won the race stalked her and buried her. But that horse is pretty good. Came back to run really well in the stakes race over the weekend there at Gulfstream. So this is a better spot for her, Dan, but it's not an easy spot for her with all the speed to her outside.
She seems equally adept on synthetic and turf, as does her next door neighbor in the starting gate, the number 2, Good, Better, Best. Let's go back to her most recent start at Gulfstream in the middle of October. This race was contested over the Tapeta surface. She got up close to a really easy pace, 50-2 for the half. She got the jump on the closers turning for home, and that could have been the key to victory as the favorite.
I think it's fair to wonder whether this trip's going to work out for her in this race, Dan, because she's one of the horses in here who seems like she wants to be part of the pace in her races, but the paces that she's been dealing with just aren't fast, and this pace is going to be faster. She did win her most recent turf start with a competitive figure. That was a 16K claimer, though.
Consistent filly, however. She's hit the board in her last 8 races in the exact 13 of 20. But Mike makes a very good point. I think, especially at the sort of depressed morning line odds of 5-1, she's going to be likely chasing a much faster pace than she's used to. Will she be as effective from off of it? The 3 is Katie's a Lady, coming into this race off a pretty good effort, and she did so sitting just off the pace. Let's watch that effort. She's entered for the $32,000 claiming option, and she's down on the inside, Mike, and she is crying out for somewhere to run. The jock is desperately trying to get her off the fence. It's not working out, is it?
No, and it's the winner who has her, blocked in there, down past mid-stretch there. Just didn't give her a seam. She gets out now, Dan. She actually runs at the end of this race, and she's going to get up for third. I'm not going to say she was unlucky in here because I don't think she was going to beat the winner of that race, but she was going to be a lot closer at the end. And again, that's the race where it seemed like they made a decision right from the start of that race that they wanted to rate her. They put her in the pocket behind horses. She didn't look that comfortable doing it, if I'm being honest. It seemed like she was pulling a little bit in there, but ultimately she settled and she ran.
And the good news is she has proven adept when close to faster paces in the past. She looked good 2 starts back at Gulfstream against a probably tougher group of starter allowance foes. And perhaps most importantly, she really loves life at Tampa Bay Downs. 6 of her 8 lifetime victories have come here. Expect her to hear her feet rattle in the opening stages. I think Next Episode, the horse with the fastest Timeform US late pace rating, is very interesting in this spot because we talked about the last race in the Open. She was in New York in a 62,500 optional, and she was just in way too tough that day. Her race in the Maryland Million Ladies was okay. The winner of that race, Circle Home, is in good form. That was a very fast-paced race. The winner took advantage. She took advantage to get third, and she might get another setup here. Her really only bad running line, if you throw out the New York race, is the race at Colonial, where she found herself on the lead when no one else wanted it. They went slow, and that's not her game. I think her prior starts are okay, and she's underrated.
Yeah, I'll agree with just about all that stuff, Dan. I mean, she's clearly got races that are going to make her really tough in here. And if this pace projector is right and this pace is fast, it helps her as much as it helps anybody. I do feel like she's fairly priced on the morning line. If I'm being honest, she's not the kind of horse that I love. I don't really love any of her races. I do think she fits pretty well in here.
Beach Ready is the number 5, another horse that showed speed last time out. That was a first-level allowance race at Gulfstream Park, and she made the lead, and she tired, and she was probably just in a little bit too tough that day. She has won from off the pace. She goes out for a very high percentage trainer, and I think this time around, they're going to opt for the rating tactics that worked well for her earlier this year.
Yeah, she looks like several horses in here, Dan, where she can handle either surface. I wonder if she's not a little bit better on the all weather, but she's got a win on the grass, and she handles. Seems like she runs her figures anyway on this surface. I can see her getting a good trip in here. I wasn't totally convinced by her. I would never bet her at the 5-1 morning line.
No surprise that the number 6, perhaps tonight, is 7-2 on the morning line. She's coming into this race off a very competitive Beyer speed figure. She earned a 79 from rallying from off the pace at Churchill Downs, and she's likely going to get the right pace setup. Perhaps she's racing herself back into shape. This will be her 3rd start since a short summer layoff, and she's consistent enough. She's at the board, 19 times in her career?
Yeah, she just looks really well spotted to me in this race. I don't really know what else to say about her. She was in good form for her prior trainer. Obviously, her prior trainer wins at a pretty high percentage, and she got this filly pretty good, or this mare pretty good. But this horse ran well first off the claim. After a little layoff, I mean, it feels like they were prepping her 2 starts back going 5, and then she improved last time. She can improve again.
Damaso, the number 7, likes life at Tampa Bay Downs, 3 lifetime wins over the surface, won twice here last year. We have not seen this one, however, since the end of August when she ran in the Violet Stakes at Monmouth. She showed good speed that day, and as we take a look at Damaso, she's in control, turning for home. She just gets a little bit leg weary. No real excuses in here, Mike. She just wasn't good enough.
Yeah, just facing better horses in this race, and she just can't beat these horses. No excuses. You're right, Dan. It's still a perfectly fine performance. She's stepping back in class for the first start back off the layoff. She just makes a lot of sense in here. Another horse who sort of brings some speed into this race. So we'll see. They're gonna have her pretty fit if they want to go to the front in this race. She better be pretty fit off the layoff.
It is worth noting that with this rider, she did win from off the pace last year at Tampa Bay Downs. And if she's just not too fresh off the layoff and is pulling this jockey out of the saddle, I wonder how they're going to play the break. Maybe they're going to see if someone is really aggressive and try to sit. It's also worth noting that she usually needs a race or 2 off the layoff. We'll see what we get from her in this spot. Maria's Honor is up next. We've seen her at Horseshoe Indianapolis last time out. I thought she ran pretty well, Mike, in this race. We're going to watch it. It's her first start off a little bit of a layoff. She was in the thick of things turning into the stretch, and she flattens out just a little bit, but she earned an okay Beyer speed figure, and she's the kind of mare that's likely going to get the right race flow in here.
Yeah, all those things are true. Listen, I like her recent form. I think her recent races are actually really good, and I think they make her a contender in here. I don't love that. Just feels like they're having real trouble keeping her on the track. Only 2 starts since last October. Listen, she ran well in both of them, but it's worrisome that she keeps missing time.
But 20-1 seems like an appealing price on the morning line considering her last race. Tiki Bar is the number 9. Her last race, in my opinion, another throwout. They ran her on the dirt. She didn't break very well. She didn't run very well. Prior start on turf, just fine. At Delaware, where she showed good early speed, and she just was allowed free rein up front. She almost stepped 26 seconds for the opening quarter mile. She was the favorite. She got the best trip. She was the best horse. She just holds on. She's not getting that trip in here. She's going to have to rally from off of it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, her last 2 turf wins are both when she was just loose on the lead and they didn't really give her any pressure up there. That's not going to be the case in this race. 3 starts back. I mean, she ran fine there too, Dan, but they made her go faster and she blew a clear stretch lead.
Postino's Prophecy, the number 10, is a New Jersey bred, wintering down at Tampa Bay Downs. She'll be making her first start off a little bit of a layoff. She's run well fresh in the past. She has the right running style for this race. And if you go back to the spring and early summer, she actually ran a Beyer speed figure or 2 that would make her interesting. So at a big price, I think you could at least include her on the bottom of single race exotic simply from a race flow perspective.
Yeah, exactly. Seems like what we were alluding to at the open there. I mean, this horse is going to be a big price in this race. She does not look overmatched to me if she can show up and run her good race, and there should be a pretty good pace setup for her.
We're kicking off a 50-cent pick 5 with our Wednesday race of the day. Before we get to our top selections, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for the latest DRF videos. Top pick time for our Wednesday race of the day. Mike's going with Katie's a Lady. Speed of the Speed?
Yeah, I do want them to be aggressive with her in here, Dan, because I feel like if they just come out running and make the front, you might get some of these horses to take a little bit of a hold here. Again, but she proved last time she doesn't need the lead. I like her recent form. She's a good fit here.
This race to me is, I think, more of a spread race to kick off the multiple leg wager. I do respect Damaso. I'm not sure how short a price I would take on her, considering the race flow is going to be tough off the layoff. But I do think the 6, perhaps tonight, you have off of there a little bit. She might get the right setup off that last race at Churchill Downs. She just seems like a very good fit at this class level. 3-7-4-1 for Mike. I'll keep my plays on the 7 and 6 with the 2 and the 5 underneath. In the Wednesday DRF race of the day, it's the 5th at Tampa. Good luck.
Hey, let me give you a hot tip. If you liked the content that you've seen before, click on the like and subscribe button right here. And of course, for more DRF videos like Race of the Days, stakes previews, click on the videos right here.